So after doing a video wherein I said I was having a huge nostalgia rush lately, I start watching an anime that's about revisiting one's childhood. That's poetic, really. It's nice to know that at the very least life still has an appreciation of poetry. Hello and welcome to Anime Jack. I'm your host, Jack. So for those of you who don't know, the way I usually review things is by at first saying what my initial thoughts are after having completed the first episode. I then watch the full series and then will give my proper review at the end once I've watched everything. So this should by no means be considered my full review. My full review on this series will come at a later date. Okay, so I've just started watching an anime that my good friend Afro Otaku has been recommending to me for a long time. When I started watching this and I saw the theme tune, my literal reaction was, oh dear, Afro. Oh dear, what have you talked me into? Mate, you owe me big time. Okay, the intro to this series makes it look a little bit, for want of a better term, disturbing. But the actual foundation for the plot, I feel, is a very interesting one. So the basic premise behind this anime is that it revolves around a 17-year-old girl who, after taking a bad fall and hitting her head, suffers from amnesia and now thinks she's only 6 years old. Wasn't that a plot to an episode of Recess? I do recall an episode where Principal Prickly thinks he's 6 years old again after being hypnotised. Just saying. So now it's up to her good friend Tomokamijo to... What? You mean that wasn't Tomokamijo? He has the exact same hairstyle. Okay, if you say so. So now it's up to her token delinquent friend with a heart of gold to try and help her to become an adult again. Even though she wasn't technically legally an adult yet. Actually, I really like this foundation for a series. I actually think this is a very interesting concept. Growing up and saying goodbye to your childhood is a very difficult thing, and I think that is going to be one of the major plot points of this series, is going to be the difficulties of growing up. It's important to be a grown-up. There's an interesting thing that's brought up with the girl's father, which I have seen brought up before in forms of fiction, but this is an interesting way of presenting it. He mentions that while a parent is happy to see their child grow up, it's also a sad process because you realise they don't need you as much anymore, and now that his daughter thinks that she's a child again and needs him once again, it's actually a... It's a happy feeling for him, and I think that's a very interesting way of exploring this concept. This is very different to what I thought it was going to be going into this, because I thought this was going to be a story about a teenage girl becoming a little girl again, and while it is, I thought it was going to happen physically as well as mentally, but it's interesting that they only went for a route where it happened mentally. Oi, did you hear about that Nanaka 617? Oh, is that the one with the teenage girlie who becomes the little girlie again? No, she only mentally becomes a little girlie again. That kinda makes it worse. I'm a grown-up, I swear! My only major concern at the moment is that we're going to have her delinquent friend be falling in love with her 6-year-old mental state self, and that is just... That's beyond messed up, but it's something I can picture an anime like this doing. But... we'll see where it goes. We have to remain positive. Don't mess this up. I will warn you if you're going into this episode though, it does kind of get off to a bit of a slow start. At the start it just seems like your token anime that revolves around teenagers and one of them's an angsty boy. Although one thing I did like that was a twist on this concept is that this girl, she wasn't like the most beautiful or most popular of girls. She was actually quite unpopular and quite nerdy, which I actually quite like. It's not very often well, not that I've personally seen. I don't see that done very often with female characters in anime, so yeah, it was very nice to see that. But back onto my point, it does get off to a very slow start, but as soon as she loses her memory and you see her being in the mental state of being a 6-year-old again, that's when it starts to get interesting. That's where it hooks you in, because, well, that's where the plot is. Help! The plot has got me! I wouldn't go as far to say this was the most mind-blowing of introduction episodes, but it is an interesting concept, it does grab my interest, and I am looking forward to watching more of it. Be sure to stay tuned and watch my journey through this series. Please stay. Please don't go. Please stay and watch the journey. It'll be fun, I swear. This is Anime Jack, and for now I am signing off.